I always freeze when I first go on there. That's strange. Morning, everybody. So I've just done a blab with Joanne Dewberry about Facebook and improving your organic Facebook reach, which I'm going to start doing those on my other page, which is vickycharles.com eventually, but I haven't got around to it yet. So I thought, since I've been used to chatting away to my mobile phone on a stand all morning, I might just carry on. So I thought I would talk about meditation, because when I tried the other day, my phone cut out and I couldn't do it. So meditation for me, I meditate every day now and have done for just over a month. So about 2 years ago, I had a client who was she's very kind of esoteric. She spent a lot of time in India. She does a lot of meditation. She does kind of guided meditations and teaches people all sorts of things. And she was launching a primordial sound meditation course, presenting the Deepak Chopra course. So she asked me if I would trial it and review it for her, and I went, oh yeah, that'd be great. I'd love to. I'd always wanted to meditate. I'd always kind of wanted to know how to do it, and felt like there was like a thing that you were supposed to do that I wasn't doing, so I wasn't proper meditating. So I really, really wanted to do it. So I jumped to the chance, and she said, you do have to commit that you're going to meditate for 30 minutes every single day for 14 days. Oh, yeah, no problem. I think it was 14, might have been 21. But anyway, so she said you have to, and I said, yeah, no problem. It was over Christmas, and I still managed to do it. She did say you have to get up in the morning. The best time to meditate is in the morning, first thing, before your brain kind of wakes up and starts processing thoughts for the day. And I thought, oh, don't be so ridiculous. I've got a small child. There's no way I can do that. So I did it in the evenings. And I did find that it made a massive difference to me. But after 14 days, I basically fell out of the habit. And since then, I've done it every now and then, here and there, not really stuck to a specific practice. One of the things she advised me to do when I started meditating was download an app called Insight Timer. And the reason she said to download that app is that you can use it to time your meditation. A lot of us have an alarm on our phone, and it's like, the example she used was like the crazy frog. If you're meditating, you don't want to be disturbed from your meditation by like the crazy frog, or whatever alarm that you've got that wakes you up in the morning is not going to be good for bringing you out of meditation. So I use the Insight Timer app. You set the timer, it gives you like a countdown of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then it dings. It's a nice kind of bell. Then it times you, and there's a bell at the end. And that was brilliant, and that's what I used it for. And then recently, I've been reading this book called The Slight Edge, which is all about how, there are so many things you can do that are so easy to do, but also easy not to do. And a lot of us don't do them. So it's easy not to do, and if you don't do it, it won't matter if I don't do it today. It doesn't matter if I don't do it today. It doesn't matter if I don't do it tomorrow. But over the course of time, yes, it does matter. Over the course of time, that tiny little thing that you do or don't do can either lead you on an upward path or a downward path. So I'm watching this. I'm reading this book, and I'm thinking about all the things that I could be doing on a regular basis and aren't doing. And I was already doing Miracle Morning, which I started reading. I read the Miracle Morning about this time last year and started getting up early in the morning. And I would always kind of get up early in the morning and think, well, I don't have time to meditate, so I'll just do the rest of the things. And about kind of just over a month ago, I started thinking, I read Brett Moran's book, which is called Wake the Fuck Up, and it really made me start thinking about, I do want to meditate. He gets a lot out of meditation. He raves about it. I've watched his videos. I've never heard anybody say they didn't like meditating. A lot of people say they can't, they don't know how to, or they can't, or it's just not, my brain doesn't sit still long enough. But I decided to give it a go. And I think, yeah, I'm going to stick with this. I'm going to get up earlier. So I set my alarm for 5:15, and I get up and I do about half an hour of exercise, half an hour of meditation, and then I read a book. And I found actually it's not that hard once you get started to sit and do it. Now, the thing about meditation, as soon as you mention meditation to anybody, their first thing is, like, the idea with meditation, I had it as well. I thought that you meditate and meditate and meditate, and then you reach nirvana, or not nirvana, but you reach a point where there's like silence in your head, and you're not having any thoughts, and you're not thinking about the fact that you need to go to the school today and fill in this form, and you're not thinking about paying that bill, or getting to that shop, or making sure that you must do this, or any of that stuff. You're not even thinking about, like, last night's The Good Wife, which is apparently very good, but I've not seen it. So you're not thinking about any of these things. You're just silent, and like you're just chanting Om a lot and all this. And I thought that was what meditation was. Guess what? It's not. and that's kind of always made me think I'd failed at it, I was failing at it, I wasn't doing a very good job at it, I couldn't do it. And whenever I speak to people about meditation, they always say, I can't do it, my mind doesn't shut up. Of course your mind doesn't shut up. Your mind is used to going like 10 to the dozen all day, every day. That's what your mind is used to doing. And you're used to having all these thoughts. And there was a picture I posted on wherever, social media the other day, that was, if you're the one having all these thoughts, who's the one that's listening to them? And the answer for me is I am the one that's listening. My thoughts are not me. And I did a video about this a few weeks ago. Like, your thoughts are actually not you. That's not who you are. And you can choose which ones you listen to. So when you're meditating, they always say that you kind of use. So for me, for primordial sound meditation, they give you a mantra that is specific to you, and you don't tell anybody about it. You don't ever say it out loud. You say it inside of your head, and you say it over and over again. And the idea is that when you have a thought about, God, did I feed the cat yesterday? You kind of know, we're going to meditate and we're saying this mantra, and you go back to your mantra over and over again. So when I meditate, yes, I do have lots of thoughts about what am I going to cook for tea? Was that noise? Was that Samara waking up? God, I wish the cars weren't so loud outside. They're loud outside today. I have all these thoughts, and meditation is the practice of bringing yourself back to I'm meditating. And over the course of time, your brain or your thoughts run out of things to try and distract you with. The lady who taught me to meditate kind of said that your mind is like, your monkey mind is like a puppy that you have tied, like stuck a stick in the ground and tied a puppy to it, and it doesn't want to be tied down. It wants to be running around everywhere. But over time, it learns that I think that's probably a bad analogy, because it's kind of like cruelty to animals, that you're going to tie this dog down and make it sit down. But that's essentially what you're doing to your brain. And over time, it learns that it can't run away from it can't distract you. So sometimes, yes, I set my timer for 30 minutes, and after 5 minutes, I'm like, and it is excruciating to have to sit still. And your mind does try everything to try and stop you from sitting still and concentrating on the mantra. So you get an itchy nose, your ear itches, you've got pins and needles in your left little finger, all these things come up. And the trick is to kind of just keep on with your mantra. And there are lots of other, I do primordial sound, but there are tons of different kinds of meditation. And mindfulness is massive at the moment as well. And they're all basically the process of sitting down, telling your thoughts to shut up, and concentrating on that silence in between your thoughts. And over the course of time, that silence gets bigger. I have days where I sit down to meditate, and the entire half hour is like a conversation with a 5-year-old. Go, no, stop doing that, let's go back to this. No, don't do that, let's do this. No, stop that, let's do this. On and on and on for the entire half hour. And by the time the bell dings at half an hour, I'm like that. It's horrific. But I also quite often have times where I meditate and I wake up. I feel like I'm waking up. When I come out of meditation, it feels amazing. I feel a lot better. And over the course of time, the Insight Timer actually appeals to my inner kind of slight edge, geeky person who wants to get badges and things, because it gives you stats. So it tells you how long you've meditated for over the course of the last week, the last month, the last year, since you updated the app, whatever. But it also, you get what's it called? A milestone for every 10 days in a row that you meditate. And you get 10 days and then 20 days, 30 days, and so on. And I kind of started out doing it in the mornings for half an hour, and I managed to get to 10 days, and I was like, oh, I've never got a milestone before. And then I got, another milestone and another one, and now I think I'm getting close to 40. And that kind of appeals to my inner geek, but also makes you stop and think about, the whole slight edge principle of doing these little things every day. And I do find that if I meditate in the morning, I'm a better parent. I'm a nicer person to be around. I have more patience. I'm able to have conversations without kind of descending into just give me coffee, which I tend to do quite a lot if I've not had coffee, or, I have short patience quite often. And getting up at 5:15 in the morning, sometimes I've not had as much sleep as I would have liked, and sometimes I can be a bit grumpy, and meditation helps with that as well. But it also helps with just having that silence, that point in the day, helps me to think more clearly. And often the thoughts that come up while I'm meditating are things that I didn't realize were bothering me, and I'm like, oh, oh, okay. Sometimes I have to stop and write something down so that I'll remember it later, and then I can just let it go and carry on meditating. Um, but it's kind of the things that come up. And also, I was talking to a friend about this the other day. Since I've been self-employed, um, I have time. When you're self-employed, you have times where you're like, oh, perhaps I should just go and get a job at Tesco, or this isn't working well for me. And sometimes I have those thoughts, and I think, gosh, I've not invoiced much money this week. What am I going to live on? What am I going to live on this month? Whatever. And sometimes I have those thoughts, and there's a part of my brain that goes, you're just going to have to give up and do that other thing, the one that makes all the money. And I think, can you enlighten me on what that thing is, and I'll go and do it. Like, I don't know what the thing is, but my brain keeps saying it. And I feel like meditating is where you have a chance to kind of think up what that thing is. Like, like you always have your best ideas when you're in the shower or on the bus, or when you're left with nothing to distract yourself. And meditation is that same kind of thing, without being left with nothing to do. You're moving it so that you're not being distracted by anything. And just lately, I've been meditating in the morning and again in the evening, and I've actually been going to bed earlier to allow myself more time to meditate before I go to sleep. And I found a massive improvement. Yesterday, for example, got up, meditated in the morning, went about my day, went out in the evening, came back. I came home about half an hour after the time that I would normally go upstairs and start my nighttime routine. But by the time I got into bed, it was late, and I was thinking, oh, okay, I'm just not going to meditate tonight. I meditated this morning. It doesn't matter. It won't stop, because obviously if you're getting badges on Insight Timer for every 10 days and you lose a day, you start at the beginning again. I thought, well, it won't infringe on that because I've already meditated today. And I've always said to myself, like, evening meditation is just a kind of an added extra. So I didn't do it. I just went to sleep, had the worst night's sleep ever, woke up feeling like rubbish. And it's actually kind of impacted on my day to day as well, in that I woke up too late to be able to meditate before Samira woke up this morning. So that I am really noticing that this morning. What time is it? It's like 11 o'clock. I've done nothing with my day yet. I've kind of bashed off a few things that needed to be sent out early, but I don't feel like I'm in that space. I feel like I need to sit down and meditate before I can do anything. And I will say here, the thing about not getting up early in the morning to meditate, I remember when the lady who taught me was like, yeah, really the best thing to do is to get up early. And I was thinking, you're bonkers. But then I read The Miracle Morning and I started getting up early, and I found that actually getting up early, because your brain has not woken up enough yet to be bothered by all these things that are, over the course of the day, you'll be like, oh, I should have cleaned the cooker today, and all this rubbish that, normally wouldn't bother you, but when you're meditating and you're silent, it does. There's that, but there's also listening to things that Brett Moran has said. He said, he asked these monks why they get up early to meditate when they've got all day to do it, and they said because consciousness is not awake yet. And that sounds really hippie and kind of woo-woo, but for me, I live in the city centre. You can probably hear cars going past in the background. 5 o'clock in the morning, there are much fewer. There are not people standing on the street outside my window shouting to each other. There are not bin lorries going past. There are not people opening shops. So on a very practical level, it is quieter at that time of day. But also, even if you live out in the middle of nowhere and you're not bothered by the things that I'm bothered by at 6, 7, 8 in the morning, it does still make a difference, I think, because there's not that. It sounds really woo-woo and hippie-ish, but there's no kind of disturbance. There's disturbance in the force. There's no disturbance in the consciousness. In kind of things are very still at that time of day. If you've ever got up shit early in the morning to drive somebody to the airport or something, there's something very calming about being out and about before anybody else, when it is really quiet, when there's nothing else going on, there's nobody else around. That for me, that makes a massive difference. And when I meditate in the evening, there is a difference in the quality of the meditation. And although I still get a lot out of it and I still do it, it does make a difference to me to do it in the morning. And I feel like meditating in the morning makes a difference for me, so I do it. So I would say to everybody, start meditating. Download the Insight Timer app. They've got loads, and I'm not being paid by them or anything. It's a free app. They've got loads of guided meditations on there as well, and there's a community that you can build up. And I've now got Facebook friends that I met through the Insight Timer. So you can, there's a community and all that stuff, but there's loads of guided meditations, so you don't need to know how to meditate. Amy, you thought, oh yeah, exactly. People think they're failing at it. They think they're no good at it. That you think, I thought, I can't do it. I thought it was like, what's that thing, like that genetic thing? Oh, that thing with your tongue where you can. I thought it was like a some people can do it and some people can't, and it's just how things are. And it's not at all. Definitely give it a go. I do think it makes a massive difference to me, especially being a single parent. You don't have time to yourself unless you actively seek it out and go and find it. And that's why I get up at 5 in the morning, 5:15 in the morning. That's my time. And now that Samara's old enough, she understands that's my time. And if she comes downstairs, we'll have a conversation. I'll see what the problem is, and we'll talk about this is mummy's time, and mummy's doing this. And after I've had a shower and got dressed, then it is Samara time, and we will do whatever you want. So I think that's, yeah, as a single parent, it's a massive thing as well. And it's really easy to kind of be disheartened by it. But if you kind of just download the app, there's also an app called Headspace, which is Andy Puddicombe, I think his name is. And I think that gives you like 5 days of free mindfulness stuff before you have to sign up to anything. But whatever route you decide to go down, whether you decide to buy a primordial sound meditation course, which I think is quite expensive, or transcendental meditation is a massive thing. I think that was what the Beatles were doing and all this. Whichever one you go for, kind of just say to yourself, okay, I'm going to give it 2-3 weeks before I quit. I'm going to give it this much time before I quit, and stick to that and really kind of commit to what you're going to do. And when the lady who taught me was very much like, if you can have a special space where you meditate, light a special candle when you meditate, have a special shawl that you put around your shoulders when you meditate, and all these things, as well as the bell that dings at the start of the meditation on the Insight Timer, it all kind of signifies to your brain, now it's time to meditate. So I don't have a special place where I can meditate because my flat is really small. But the cushions you can see behind me, oh gosh, the cushions you can see over my shoulder there, I put them so that they're like a little block for me to sit on. And I sit there and I set the Insight Timer. I don't light a candle because, but all of these things, it's kind of like a little ritual that gets your brain and your body into thinking, okay, now we're going to sit still for half an hour. I would say, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, if that's all you've got, then that's all you need. But for me, I find 10 minutes, I feel like I'm just starting to get to the place where my mind shuts up and then ding. So I do half an hour whenever I can. And I'm trying to increase that as well because I do think it makes such a difference. What's that quote that was like attributed to Gandhi? Like, I meditate for an hour every day except when I'm really busy, and then I do 2 hours. There's a lot to be said for that, I think. I do hope that you have found this vaguely interesting, and that you found it useful. I'd love to hear if people do. Amy, if you start to meditate, if other people start to meditate, I'd love to hear what you think. I'm not going to say I can give you any sort of advice or help or guidance on it because, I'm a beginner. There are people that do this for years and years and years and still are not experts. But I really think, if there's somebody who wants to chat to about it, then just give me a shout because I love it, and I really think everybody should do it. I'm trying to get Samara to start doing it. But she's 4 and she doesn't like to sit still. So, but I think it's something that we can all stand to learn something from, and we can all really benefit from. And I think the world would be a happier place if everybody meditated. Definitely Nigel Farage. Definitely, yeah, Amy, let me know how you get on. Right, I am going to go and do some actual work now, like a proper grown-up, or might get some breakfast. Yeah, either way I'm going. So thank you so much for listening. If you've liked this, you should check out my blog, which is singlemotherhoy.com. And if you have a Facebook page or any sort of a business, then check out vickycharles.com for lots of useful tips and things. I'm going to start doing live videos on the vickycharles.com Facebook page to help people with blogging and business, and Facebook and Twitter mostly. So if you have questions about that, head on over to the vickycharles.com Facebook page and leave me a note there. Have a fantastic Friday, have a lovely weekend, and I'll be back next week. Bye!